Zara Blackwood clutched her worn backpack tighter as she navigated through the crowded quad of Millfield University. The autumn air carried the scent of fallen leaves and fresh coffee from the campus cafe, but she barely noticed. Around her, groups of laughing students moved with the easy confidence of people who belong somewhere. She did not. At 18, Zara looked even younger than her years. Her oversized sweater hung loosely on her small frame, and thick-rimmed glasses perched on her nose made her appear more like a high school student who had wandered onto the wrong campus. Other freshmen had already formed tight circles of friendship after just 3 weeks of classes. Zara remained invisible, which was exactly how she needed it to be. She found her usual spot on the stone steps of the library, away from the main flow of foot traffic. As she pulled out her sociology textbook, her eyes automatically swept the area with a practiced efficiency that would have surprised anyone watching. Exit points, blind spots, unusual behavior patterns, all cataloged and filed away in seconds. Before we dive into this incredible story, drop a comment and let us know what state you're watching from. Maybe you have seen military exercises near your local college campus. Professor Chun had assigned 3 chapters on social dynamics, but Zara found the material almost laughably basic compared to what she already knew about human behavior under pressure. The first sign of trouble came during her morning statistics class. Zara sat in her preferred seat in the back corner, angle optimized to observe both the entrance and the emergency exit, when Campus Security Officer Martinez burst through the door. His face was flushed, radio crackling with urgent chatter that he quickly muted. Professor Williams paused mid-lecture, markers still poised at the whiteboard. "Is everything all right, Officer Martinez?" she asked, her voice tight with concern. "Just a routine security check," Martinez replied, but his eyes swept the classroom with an intensity that made several students shift uncomfortably in their seats. "We need to verify all student IDs today. Everyone please have your campus cards ready." Zara's pulse remained steady as she reached for her carefully crafted identification. Around her, students fumbled through backpacks and wallets, grumbling about the interruption. She noticed Martinez's hand resting on his radio, fingers drumming a nervous pattern against the plastic casing. When he reached her desk, his eyes lingered on her face for just a fraction longer than the others. Something flickered in his expression, a momentary confusion that he quickly masked. "Zara Blackwood," he read from her card. "Freshman, sociology major." "That's right," she replied in the soft, uncertain voice she had perfected for this assignment. Her smile was appropriately nervous, the kind a shy student might wear when confronted by authority. By afternoon, the campus atmosphere had shifted from routine to tense. Zara noticed the changes that others missed. Additional security personnel positioned at strategic points, their postures too rigid for standard patrol duty. Radio chatter increasing in frequency. Most telling of all, the way seasoned campus police kept checking their weapons. She walked toward the student center, maintaining the unhurried pace of someone heading to study group. Her roommate Bethany caught up, breathless from hurrying across the quad. "Did you hear about the weird stuff happening?" Bethany whispered, glancing around nervously. "My boyfriend works in IT, and he said they locked down all the computer labs this morning. Something about suspicious network activity." Zara adjusted her glasses and shrugged with practiced nonchalance. "Probably just routine maintenance," she replied, though she had already noted the unmarked black vehicles parked near the administration building. Bethany lowered her voice further. "And get this, 3 professors called in sick today, all from the engineering department. That never happens." The information clicked into place with disturbing clarity. Engineering faculty, network security concerns, heightened campus police presence. Zara felt the familiar cold focus settling over her thoughts. The mental shift from college student to operational awareness that she had trained for years to control. "Maybe we should just stay in today," Bethany continued, oblivious to the calculation happening behind Zara's innocent expression. The emergency alert shattered the late afternoon calm. Every phone on campus buzzed simultaneously, the harsh electronic tone echoing across the quad like a digital scream. Students stopped mid-conversation, pulling devices from pockets with the universal dread of unexpected notifications. Zara read the message with growing concern that had nothing to do with her cover identity. Campus lockdown in effect. Shelter in place immediately. Avoid windows. Await further instructions. Around her, confusion erupted into panic. Students ran in different directions, some toward dormitories, others clustering in frightened groups. Bethany grabbed Zara's arm with trembling fingers. "Oh my God, what's happening?" she cried, her voice rising to near hysteria. "Is this real or just a drill?" Zara gently extracted herself from Bethany's grip while scanning the horizon. In the distance, she could see the distinctive silhouettes approaching fast and low. Military helicopters moving in tactical formation. Her heart rate spiked, but not from fear. "We need to get inside now," Zara said, her voice carrying an authority that made Bethany stop crying and listen. "The student center is closest. Move quickly, but don't run." As they hurried toward the building, Zara caught sight of figures in dark tactical gear moving between the academic buildings. Professional. Coordinated. This was no drill, and whatever was happening had escalated far beyond campus security capabilities. The student center transformed into chaos within minutes. Hundreds of students packed into the main lobby, their voices creating a deafening wall of fear and confusion. Some pressed against the windows despite the alert warnings, straining to see what was happening outside. Others huddled in corners, frantically texting family members. Zara found a position near the information desk where she could observe multiple entry points while appearing to comfort other students. The building's layout was already memorized from her first-week reconnaissance. 3 main exits, 2 service entrances, emergency stairs to the upper floors. The thunderous roar of rotor blades grew louder, rattling the windows and sending fresh waves of panic through the crowd. Through the glass doors, Zara watched as massive Apache helicopters descended onto the campus quad, their rotors whipping fallen leaves into violent spirals. Military personnel rappelled from the aircraft with practiced precision, establishing a perimeter around the student center within seconds. These were not National Guard weekend warriors. Their movements, equipment, and coordination spoke of elite special operations. Campus Security Chief Peterson burst through the main doors, his radio squawking with overlapping transmissions. His usually composed demeanor had cracked, revealing the overwhelmed administrator beneath. "Everyone stay calm," he shouted over the noise, but his own voice betrayed his lack of control over the situation. "Federal authorities are handling a security threat. We need complete cooperation." A new voice cut through the chaos with military authority that instantly commanded attention. Federal agents were entering the building, their black tactical gear and professional bearing creating a path through the panicked students like Moses parting the Red Sea. The lead agent stepped forward, his voice amplified by a portable speaker. "This is Agent Harrison with Joint Terrorism Task Force. We have credible intelligence of an imminent threat to this facility. All students will be evacuated in small groups for security screening." Zara felt ice form in her stomach. Joint Terrorism Task Force meant this had escalated beyond anything she had anticipated when accepting this assignment. Her cover mission to monitor potential radical recruitment on campus had just collided with something far more dangerous. Around her, students began crying harder. Some pulled out phones to call parents despite explicit instructions to maintain communication silence. The fear was becoming infectious, spreading through the crowd like wildfire. Agent Harrison's eyes swept the room with practiced efficiency, cataloging faces and behavior patterns. When his gaze passed over Zara, she maintained the wide-eyed expression of a frightened college student. But something in his pause suggested recognition. Not of her face, but of someone who did not belong with the panicking masses. Bethany grabbed her hand again. "I can't breathe," she whispered. "What if we don't make it out of here alive?" The evacuation began with systematic precision that revealed the true scope of the operation. Students were divided into groups of 12, each escorted by armed agents to temporary processing stations outside. The Apache helicopters maintained their positions, rotors spinning at idle, ready for immediate deployment. Zara found herself in the third group, positioned to observe the screening process ahead. Through the glass doors, she watched as students were questioned briefly, their identification verified against databases, then directed to buses waiting beyond the military perimeter. But something was wrong with the pattern. 3 students from the first group had not emerged from the processing tent. Agent Harrison stood near the entrance, speaking into a throat microphone with increasing urgency. "We have confirmation of cell activation," his voice carried despite his attempt at discretion. "Multiple assets embedded within student population. Authorization requested for enhanced interrogation protocols." The words hit Zara like physical blows. Cell activation. Multiple assets. This was not about preventing a terrorist attack. The attack was already in motion, and it involved students on this campus. Her group was called forward. As they moved toward the exit, Zara noticed Agent Harrison positioning himself directly in their path. His hand rested on his sidearm, and his eyes never left her face. The time for maintaining cover was rapidly running out. Soon she would have to choose between preserving her mission and revealing capabilities that could save lives. The explosion came without warning. A thunderous blast from the engineering building sent shock waves across campus, shattering windows and triggering car alarms in a symphony of destruction. Students in Zara's group screamed and dropped to the ground as debris rained down around the processing area. Agent Harrison barked orders into his radio. "Building 7 is compromised. Repeat, we have detonation at Building 7. All units converge on engineering sector immediately." Through the smoke and chaos, Zara saw the tactical situation unraveling. The Apache helicopters were repositioning, their weapons systems targeting the damaged building. But this was exactly what the cell wanted. The explosion was not the attack, it was the distraction. While federal agents rushed toward the engineering building, Zara noticed movement near the student center they had just evacuated. 3 figures in maintenance uniforms were approaching the building through the emergency service entrance. Students and staff were still inside on the upper floors, trapped by the lockdown protocols. Bethany was crying hysterically beside her, but Zara's attention focused with laser precision on the tactical vest barely concealed under the lead figure's coveralls. These were not maintenance workers. They were the real attack team, and they had just gained access to hundreds of hostages while security focused on the decoy explosion. Agent Harrison was still coordinating the response to Building 7, unaware that the primary target was directly behind him. Zara made her choice in that instant. The mission parameters no longer mattered. Hundreds of innocent lives hung in the balance, and she was the only person in position to act. She rolled away from Bethany and the other panicking students, using the smoke and confusion as cover. Agent Harrison was 50 meters away, still coordinating the response to the decoy explosion. The 3 infiltrators had disappeared into the student center, and she could hear the first screams echoing from inside the building. Her movements shifted from the clumsy shuffle of a frightened college student to the fluid precision of someone trained in advanced combat operations. She reached the service entrance within seconds, her mind automatically calculating angles, cover positions, and probable hostile locations. The first terrorist stood guard just inside the door, his attention focused on the main lobby where his partners were rounding up hostages. He never saw Zara approach from his blind spot. Her strike to his carotid artery dropped him unconscious in 2 seconds, and she caught his falling body before it could make noise. She stripped his tactical vest and communications equipment with practiced efficiency. The radio crackled with chatter between the remaining 2 terrorists. "Phase 2 complete," one voice reported. "Package is secured. Awaiting extraction coordinates." Package meant they had a specific high-value target among the hostages. Someone important enough to justify this entire elaborate operation. Zara checked the terrorist's weapon and moved deeper into the building. The main lobby had been transformed into a hostage situation. 47 students and staff members knelt on the floor in precise rows while two armed terrorists maintained control from elevated positions. Zara recognized the tactical setup immediately. Classic extraction protocol designed to buy time until reinforcements arrived. The lead terrorist held a detonator in his left hand while keeping his rifle trained on the hostages. His partner maintained overwatch from the second-floor balcony, controlling the entire room with overlapping fields of fire. In the center of the hostage group, Zara spotted the package. Professor Elena Vasquez from the Advanced Physics Department, whose research on electromagnetic pulse technology had classified implications she probably did not even realize. Target acquired, the lead terrorist spoke into his radio, requesting immediate extraction. Heat signature indicates federal response converging on our position. Zara moved through the service corridors with ghost-like silence, using her knowledge of the building's layout to reach the second floor undetected. The Overwatch terrorist never saw her coming. Her attack was swift and silent, neutralizing him before he could alert his partner below. She appropriated his rifle and communication equipment, then positioned herself with a clear shot at the lead terrorist. But the detonator complicated everything. One wrong move, and everyone in that room would die. The sound of Apache helicopters grew louder outside as federal forces finally realized where the real attack was taking place. The final confrontation required perfect timing. Zara could hear Agent Harrison's voice through the terrorist radio, coordinating the federal response outside. They were planning a dynamic entry that would get everyone killed because they did not understand the detonator's dead man switch configuration. She keyed the captured radio and spoke with calm authority. Agent Harrison, this is operative designation Shadow 7. I have eyes on the package and both remaining hostiles. Do not attempt breach. Repeat, do not breach. The silence that followed told her everything. Harrison knew exactly who Shadow 7 was, which meant her cover had been compromised from the beginning. This entire operation was a setup designed to flush her into the open. The lead terrorist below suddenly stiffened, pressing his finger closer to the detonator trigger. Shadow 7, he called out in accented English. The legendary Ghost Operative. Your government's most protected asset. We know you are here. Professor Vasquez looked up in confusion, her eyes searching the room for whoever the terrorist was addressing. The other hostages remained frozen, sensing that their survival balanced on a knife's edge. Zara realized the full scope of the trap. They had not come for the professor's research. They had come for her, using the campus and innocent students as bait. The engineering building explosion, the hostage situation, even Professor Vasquez herself were all elements designed to force Shadow 7 out of deep cover. But they had made one critical miscalculation about her priorities. Their miscalculation proved fatal. Zara's shot took the terrorist leader between the eyes before he could process her movement from the balcony above. The detonator tumbled from his lifeless fingers, and she was already moving, leaping from the second floor to catch the device before it hit the ground. The hostages erupted in chaos as federal agents stormed through every entrance simultaneously. Agent Harrison reached her first, his expression mixing relief with professional admiration. Shadow 7, he said quietly as Apache crews secured the perimeter outside. Your cover extraction has been authorized. Transport is standing by. Zara looked around at the students she had protected, many of them crying with relief as they were reunited with emergency responders. Bethany spotted her from across the room and ran over, grabbing her in a fierce hug. Zara, thank God you're okay, Bethany sobbed. I was so scared we were going to die in here. Professor Vasquez approached more slowly, her scientific mind clearly processing the impossible transformation she had witnessed. You are not really a college freshman, are you? She said with quiet certainty. The Apache helicopters waited outside, their rotors spinning in preparation for immediate departure. Zara's handlers had already prepared new identity documents and extraction protocols. Shadow 7 would disappear as completely as she had appeared. If this story amazed you, drop a comment about your favorite moment or tell us if you have ever discovered someone was not who they seemed to be.